Welcome once more to Limitless. Today we've got a very, I don't want to say prominent, because it's beyond that. I think we've got a very powerful guest in our midst. We're going to make it short and sweet. You know, when people say short and sweet, we're not going to go around circles trying to discuss issues that you already know, but we're going to talk about issues that will be able to educate you as a person. Our guest today is Mr. Maponga. I don't know whether to address you as a bishop or just Mr. Maponga or Mfowetu or our African brother.
How old are you, Siya?
I'm 39 years old.
I'm 53 years old. How do you address a 53-year-old man in your village?
Bab Maponga.
That's it. Because who Mr. Pelamina, I'm not no queen. Utam Fagin to get my show, then I'm at so missed. And you born lazy at all, but I was saying. So how can I be Mr. when I have not been recognized? I'm not a subject of the British monarch. So why do you want to address me? Why do you want to address me with colonial terms?
Okay. Snobo Maponga la, siyamamkela. It's an honor for us to have him here at Limitless. So Bob Maponga recently published a book. Ufumane iqiniso lakho, Find Your Truth. Uba Maponga ungakhona ukuthi umlandele on all social media platforms, especially Facebook, Farmers of Thought as well. He is quite influential to a lot of people. So you can go get his book on all, I think, exclusive books. The last time.
Again, books, CNA, exclusive, and also Take a Lot. Take a Lot as well. Also delivering. Yeah.
You will, like Obama Maponga said to me before he gave me the book, was that La Yintango. He said, this is Yintango. When I went through the book, it just flipped me. And I don't want to talk about it. It's going to take too long. Welcome, Baba Maponga.
Thank you.
Welcome. Siyabong. Kulamakaza, Siyabong, you managed to come through to bless us.
And thank you for the tea, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you for the tea.
It's a beautiful tea. So a lot of people always ask me, what are you drinking in that yellow cup? Yes. So they don't know I'm drinking this hibiscus tea. It's an African tea.
Yeah.
It's from Mali.
Very healthy.
Extremely healthy.
They sell it for an arm and a leg here.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
There's a lot of sick people here.
Yeah. So if people don't know what they're eating, and what they're drinking, this is just a big cycle between food and diet, hospitals and pharmaceuticals. So the whole nation has been made to eat sweeter cakes, drinks, sugar, etc., and that creates a bad blood, so to speak. And if you can follow the works of Dr. Selby, I have. Alkaline diet is much better than the sweet, high street diet that we are eating. So these bitter herbs are actually good.
Do you think with this wave of COVID that we're going through now, drinking such herbs will sort of, obviously I know it will enhance your immune system, because I've been drinking it myself, and I never had flu since I started drinking this tea, never ever.
Yeah, I think the corona, other than people looking at it as a disease, is one thing to look at it also from the preventative corner, where having a healthy body is far much better than treating a sick body. True. In natural ways, we don't have to wait for COVID to start now looking for drinking and steaming and washing hands and sleeping well and eating gingers and garlics. This should have been
our lifetime.
It would have been very interesting had we been doing this prior to COVID. I would have loved to see the statistics of the number of people that died, that could have died, or that could have survived. We should have shocked the rest of the world had we kept a good eating system. We should have shocked them.
Alkaline diet.
We should have shocked all of them.
Never thought about that.
And even now, it's one thing always to be announcing the people that are dying. Yes, the pandemic is here, but the real issue is how do we assist those that are still alive and healthy? And I think if you say 400,000 people are sick and are infected.
Yeah.
Yes, in as much as we are focusing on the 400,000 that are sick and infected.
Yeah.
How about the 53,600,000 that are still standing?
And alive.
How do we focus? Now the focus moves to hospitals and funerals.
Yeah.
But you have a percentage of the greatest percentage is that is not yet been infected. And those that are healthy and living badly, how do you assist the community to fight a pandemic that is pending in the air? And if for all practical purposes of the 500 billion that came, I thought maybe 10% of that would actually go into educational programs.
Yes.
For the TVs, for the radios, and a bit of that
finding African solutions.
And a bit of that in the agricultural projects. We produce more gingers, produce more garlics. We laughed at Mantum Simango the other day when she was talking about beetroot.
Yes.
Garlic. And I would want to vindicate her in her grave.
Yeah.
That she was right. That a healthy immune system can even deal with HIV better. As much as now we're saying it again, a good immune system can deal with COVID better.
True. But Maponga, before we go forward now, with the few minutes that we left with me and you, this instrument you always play it when I'm with you. I would really like you to play for people just a minute. I'll let Maponga to explain what instrument is this. He just loves it. Wherever he goes, he plays it.
Yes. This is one.
It doesn't need a software update, eh?
This is the heritage. This is the wealth of the African.
Yeah.
Mbira. 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 It's not marimba, please. It's a mbira. A marimba is a baby to this one. They call this a baby piano. On the other side, this is the mother piano. Because this was done the 6th, 7th, 8th century. The piano in the 16th century. So in terms of
this is the mother. This is the mother.
They actually do this kick note and they put it on the end. Then they stretch them this way to do a do re mi fa sol la ti do. Whereas music is meant to be cyclical. So mbira, M-B-I-R-A. Ah is for Aleph, where it all begins. Then Ra is for the sun, the light that we have. Celebrating the gift we've received from Ah. Remember, I'm reading the word backwards.
Yes.
Then Ira means holiness, purity, cleanliness, something that is sacred. So in the midst of sacredness, we celebrate Ra, who has come from Ah. Then Ira is an occasion where the community comes together. And once the community comes together, that becomes a sacred gathering. And in sacredness, we celebrate Ra, who has come from Ah. Then Mbira is an instrument we play during Bira, which is Ira, celebrating Ra, who has come from Ah. And then me, I'm Gwenya Mbira, the player of the Mbira during the Bira, which is an Ira occasion, celebrating Ra, who has come from Ah. So there is spirituality. It's not just a music instrument. It actually is the software of what we might want to call African spirituality.
It splits your mind.
Yeah.
It splits your brain into two. Yes! 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 Thank you very much, Maponga. And once more, I must say this that we are busy putting a project together for Maponga. The sounds, I think it was over 600.
I've created an archive of 600 songs there.
600 songs, yes.
Yeah. So we, instead of selling them maybe album by album, we may do that for the next 4 or 5 years. We can be producing an album every 3 months. But I think the real ultimate plan is to create a portal,
yes,
where we can upload all the music. Then people can pay in, and we have access to the entire archive. Then we can classify
over 600 years.
Yeah, we can classify the archives, the miras, one side, the drums, the trumpet, the saxophones, the nyatitis, the banduras, the choras, and then you can actually have a section. But most of the music is actually designed for movie soundtracks.
Yes.
I've submitted the first 18 to Lalela.
You must submit to Black Panther as well.
Hollywood, yeah. Just make a plan and let's connect with them and we can give them some samples.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm up for that. But Maponga, so you are a person that you always willing to teach African child about their origin in your years, and your journey. I've followed your journey. I've read your book, and I'm glad that I read your book when I also was in my journey of flipping completely and understanding what is it to be an African and to be a human being, first of all, not to be influenced by things that people want to use against us while they're making money and enriching themselves. So going through the book, I've learned a lot, and it solidified me as a person, I must say. And so I want to find out from you that you've traveled a very, very interesting journey for me, extremely interesting, and I respect you for standing out without fighting with anyone. And as soon as you stood out, the rest of the people fought with you, but your hands were in your pocket. You are not fighting with them. And I just thought the other day, if you had taken out your hands out of your pocket and started fighting, because you never fought anybody, but you just became different.
In the Farmers of Thought institution, we have come to understand that the greatest war that is being fought is not on the battlefields of Iraq. It's not in Afghanistan. It's not in Congo.
Israel.
The greatest war is between your 2 ears. The war of ideologies. Conquering of the African mind. The question is, who is influencing that mind? Because once you can tamper with the software, the hardware behaves in a similar way. And we need to be very much aware the quality of the software, the information, the knowledge, the education, the intel, perceptions that are being suggested to us, and the impact those suggestions have on the community. Like right now, you can look at the South African political space and you can worry about what is true and what is false. There's nothing true, there's nothing false. It's just perception. What does the media want to sell? What do they want you to believe? So you sell that on TV, you sell that on radio, you sell that on newspapers, and in a few weeks and a few months, when people are told the same lies over and over again, they believe it is true. So my idea of fighting back, maybe I understood early that they are not fighting me; they're actually fighting themselves. I don't have to kill a man who wants to burn his house. I'll give him the matches to burn his own house. The battle is not with me. The battle is with the information that they received before I got here. Now they think that I'm the enemy for telling them that, hey, in fact, this road you are going on, the bridge is no longer there.
It's broken.
No, my father went through here. Hey, in fact, there was a big storm there. The bridge has been swept away. So please look for another road. No, I'll see when I get there. Then I stand away from the road. And those that want to proceed and go and look for a white Jesus to come from heaven, they can wait for him, and they may find that bridge has long been swept and it's not there, and that white man is not coming back.
So with your transition from Christianity or white Jesus to being a solid African, understanding what your software works, what ticks your software, So we need to educate a lot of young people and a lot of old people, by the way, because there's still a lot of people that are still going on the road and the bridge is no longer there. A lot of people believe that I went to a comment section where some people are saying, Maponga now is running a cult. So I go through what you post on Farmers of Thought, and I went through your book, and for me, I couldn't see that. Maybe you can tell me if did I read right?
Those by far those definitions derogative as they are meant to be. I don't take offense, because Christianity on its own is a cult. There's no need to be pointing fingers. A cult is any form of a religious organization that takes people away from themselves, excludes those people for their own purposes, performs certain rituals, and associates the person from their core family, and so that they can actually produce and practice certain practices with them. Now you look at that definition by all practical purposes. Christianity takes you away from your family. We become your brothers and sisters. You are no longer related to your own family. What rituals do we do? We also drink the blood of Jesus. Well, there are the other rituals. They drink the blood of goats. So what you also eat the body of Christ this side, while they're eating the meat of the goats. And so when you begin to look at these definitions of cults, in what way would you not say Christianity is a cult when it is robbing people of their monies and baptizing people, just like voodoo also baptizes people, and change of ownerships, people drinking petrol and gas and all this? What type of people can be in such an environment unless they've been captured by a cultic leader who is disguised as a Christian leader? So before you can even start saying me a cult, but I don't have a church to nobody's name.
To start with,
I've not collected nobody's money. I make my money from selling my heads and selling my books.
That's my head.
And that's how I make my money, and a little bit of talks here and there. I've not asked for anyone to send me money and pay money for your tithe, and your sins will be forgiven, and God will be angry if you want. I'd rather have you take your tithe and send it to your mother.
Yes, to my own mother.
For your own mother.
Back in the village.
For crying out loud.
Yeah.
So if those who call me a cult maybe need to come around and rewrite a definition of a cult, and they must use me as an example that Maponga is running a cult because he's writing his own Bible. That's not a bad thing. Then Peter is a cultic man, Matthew is a cultic man, Luke is a cultic man, and John is a cultic man, because in the Greek translation it says Kata Yohanu, the gospel according to John. Kata Lukon, the gospel according to Luke. So it is, we were there at the event, 4 of us. Each one of us saw what they saw. When each one of us go back home and start writing as I have perceived it. So the gospel according to Maponga J is as I have perceived it. And 33 years later in the ministry, I think I have a right
to stand up and
both academically and experientially, to say as I see the gospel. Since Jesus promised Israel the land of the Palestinians, what has he promised the Africans? I have a right to question the veracity of the gospel pertaining to African wealth, African social justice, African inheritance, and history.
You know, it made me think, we're discussing with my brothers earlier on, that in actual fact, I think there's a lot of people like you that are still in the closet, but they are scared to come out of the closet because some of them, they've got things that are attached to the church and the gospel that they praising. So I believe that there's a lot of people that
there are three groups of people. Group number one are those that are thinking in the box, as I've always said. Think in the box, they're limited by the box. Life is all managed by the colonial box. You were told what they were told. Your fathers are demons, your ancestors are demons. You cannot do rituals as Africans. You can't kill a goat when you're marrying your wife. You must put a ring on your finger and put on some white clothes. Come on, that is still white culture. What you call a white wedding is white culture. So stop.
It is a white wedding.
Stop wasting my time. It's white culture. It's not white. There's nothing white about it. White culture. Queen Elizabeth is one of the first ones to put on a white dress. there you are, stuck in the box. Group number 2 are those that are slightly coming out of the closet. They think outside of the box, but they still use the box as reference. They are now outside, but they are still.
The legs are still inside the box,
yes,
but they are outside.
They are outside, but what will the people in the box think?
The fresh air is hitting them, but the box is still holding them down.
Then my group, then the damn box, and think.
Throw the ashes away.
Burn it. Burn the box and think. And for me, this is the liberation, the ultimate liberation of the African mind, that we cannot constantly be idolizing and pontificating Romanism, Eurocentric theology as Africans, which neither respects our history, respects our culture, respects our land, respects our ancestors, respects our diet, does not respect our fashion, does not respect our marriages. This religion, basically, it is toxic to African culture, as it were. It is a bully of African.
It is.
So how can I, as an African, for example, start feeling sorry for a white man who hung on the cross to supposed to have saved me from sins? How about the 20 million that died in Congo? How about the 25 million that died on the cross-Atlantic slave trade? How about the thousands that died in South Africa during Azania uprising, Zimbabwe, Zambia? Are you saying all these millions of people, their lives are worth nothing except for a blue-eyed boy who hangs on a cross in Jerusalem?
One person.
Oh, come on, get a life. Get a life. There must be something much more to life than creating illusions of sympathy around. If Jesus died on the cross, then he saved us from what?
I've asked the same question before. That I moved away from Christianity a long time ago. A few years ago, I had the privilege to go to Ghana, to go to what do you call it? The slave trade area.
Yes, in the market there, the beachfront there.
Yeah, the beachfront.
The gate of no return.
Yes, the gate of no return. So I went there, and as I was going in, then I went then they take you to the gate of no return, the last point. And this lady said to me, a lot of people died here. Whoever survived are the people that were sold with higher price because they could stand pain and they could stand stress and everything. And those that died, they would just throw them away.
And to date, by the way, that is a fertile ground for sharks between Ghana and the Atlantic Ocean.
To date?
To date. The biggest concentration of sharks is on that path. Because during the 100 years when the slave trade was happening, if you died, they would throw you into the waters. So sharks started feeding into that and were breeding in there. So they're still waiting for more slaves to be thrown into the sea. Yeah. But good news is, if that was a gate of no return, in case this video arrives to some Americans out there, some Africans in diaspora,
yes,
they called it a gate of no return, but I want to call it a gate of return. You left here by force, you can come back by choice.
So what I wanted to say is that what was surprising to me is that so the gate of no return is like underground, and then at the top there's a Catholic church.
Yes.
That I couldn't understand.
They were praying to do the business downstairs, and they were praying for their God to see them safely on the road while they were traveling. And then you tell me that Christianity was not a partner of colonialism and slave trade.
No, it was, definitely. It was.
Doesn't make sense.
To me, it couldn't.
And West, did you also discover one of the first ships to ship slaves out of Africa? What is the name of this ship? Jesus. Go and research it.
Jesus.
So, philosophically and spiritually speaking, when you are moving people from Africa into America on a ship called Jesus, what are you saying exactly? You are taking Africans on a slave mission, using Jesus as transport. As it is happening physically, spiritually and mentally, we are still on that.
But I think it hasn't stopped, to be honest. It doesn't stop because there's more churches than I've seen before.
There are 4 stages of colonization you need to know. 1, organized businesses. own the money, means of production. When you have the money, buy the politicians. All politicians are prostitutes. They go for a value to the highest bidder. The businessman comes and buys the politician. The politician, once he's in power, empowered by the businessman, appoints the judiciary system, which is the law and legal framework that protects the politician who protects the businessman. And once these three structures are in place, create an instrument of propaganda. That's media, that's education, that's religion. So people can become servants of the system you have created. Now, if this is how colonialism was structured, the question is, can the black men start organizing their own business? Once we have means of production, not business, no employment, ownership of means of production, let's buy our own politicians, change the agenda of the judiciary in terms of the governance structures and constitutions. Then let's create our own propaganda, teach our children what we want to teach them.
I think I read an article today, Burundi froze all mining licenses of rare earth mineral. And because they say that since these companies, British company, Russian companies, and Chinese companies, those are the companies that are mining those minerals. And they say that we're putting a stop to all the licenses until such time we renegotiate better contracts, because the people of Burundi, they're not benefiting from this.
Take note of the lifespan of the president of Burundi, having done that. Just keep your eyes open. Because those are multi-billion, multinational companies.
Yeah, they use them in high-tech industry.
Yes, that are pumping millions. And they'll just put a price tag on his head to eliminate him and take the country back to its original colonizers. Why do you think Marikana platinum mines are still in the hands of private owners? Why is Oppenheimer still running the gold and the diamonds in this country? Why are the ShopRites and Pick and Pays still in the hands of the Ruperts and etc.? Who in his right political mind will come and challenge that status quo and not have his head on the block? So for you to survive as a politician, you must always be prostituting yourself with the economic masters who become your pimps, selling your own people. You as a leader must get money from the investors, money from the multinationals, so that you can sell your own people at a price.
Do you think it's fair for Zuma to go to jail the way he went?
I don't have a problem with legislation, but I have a problem with a country that is hungry for 1.5 years. And then in the midst of that hunger, you take a matchstick. I mean, you've already poured fuel on the ground. And then you take a matchstick and you throw it in. Then you ask me, how did the house burn? I mean, that's not an issue. These are two separate issues that have found convenience in the hungry stomachs. And by the way, a hungry stomach has no politics.
Yeah, definitely.
I cannot rule out criminal activities. I cannot rule out other elements in that. But from my observation, it was bad timing. Put Zuma on house arrest, even better. Drag him to constitutional court or to commission. Change Judge Zondo. Zondo is not the alpha and omega of law in this country.
But it was wrong from the first place to name the commission Zondo Commission.
The problem. So you already have earmarked, and immediately Zuma refused to come, then the commission was abandoned. As if that was the only case. There were many other cases of state capture. We needed the Oppenheimers. We needed to find out who bought the house for Mandela. We need to find out.
No, you're studying another thing.
No, we want to find out. We want to find out.
You're studying another
What did Thabo Mbeki do when he was in power with the Guptas? We want to find out.
Because he had close relations.
We want to find out who has the official receipts for Stellenbosch. Where did they buy that land from? If you're doing state capture, because everyone's talking Stellenbosch. So we want to find out. Who are the beneficiaries of Wits University? Who own the university? Who manages the economy? We want to find out. On the Ramoses, on the fiddling of the rand. Where did that money go to when the rand was fiddled with? So for me, it's state capture. It's a tip of an iceberg. We want to find out the more issues that need to be discussed. Much more.
And looting never even moved the rand. It's funny enough.
The Guptas did not loot nothing bad compared to 100 years of established companies of Jews and Afrikaners and Englishmen who have constantly, even to an extent that Thatcher's son came here to South Africa to pick up an army in South Africa to go to Guinea.
Guinea Conakry.
Let's find out. They were using state facilities, state airports and etc. So who are they linked up to? Because for me, that's state capture. Then they want to complain that the Guptas flew into one of the airports here. It was a state security.
KZN,
But how much more of a British army, British surrogate young fella who, son of Thatcher, comes here, loads up an army in South Africa to go and do an insurgency in another country from the South African soil. And you don't call that military capture? Who was waving the flags for them to fly out? And what was inside those aeroplanes as they were flying out? Did the South African intelligence not know?
They definitely knew about it.
So let's not talk about nuts and bolts, small little kangaroo, childish non-issues. For me, the Gupta story, it's only a bunch of Stellenbosch people who felt there was a new kid on the block. So let him go and die. Let him go and die with Zuma. But for all practical purposes, there's very little that the Guptas have scooped.
Do you think, as a last question, that an African mind or an African child would ever see what you see?
The day they will see it is when you take a big net and find all those ministers and presidents in the parliament and put them in one big net and go and throw them in the sea. Because we have a system that does not know its people. We have a system that is headless. We have a system that tries to promote a colonial Roman Dutch constitution at the expense of their own people. They went to war to fight for land, empowered by the kings. And they said, we're going to bring back the land. When they came back from war, guess what they brought? They brought democracy. We never went to fight for democracy.
We went to fight for the land.
We went to fight for the land. But unfortunately, because the kings were still there, the politicians felt if they should come back and give back the land, back to the rightful owners, then it means that they will become servants of the kings. So they made themselves the leaders of the countries. This has been the trajectory of independence of Africa from Ghana coming down. Every revolutionary who gets on the street, when he comes back, he does not want to surrender power, land, back to the people. To the people. What's wrong with people in Rustenburg being shareholders in the platinum mines that are there? We don't want clinics and roads. Those are the roads you're using for your own cars. You mean meaningful ownership over the resources that are underneath our
benefiting.
Houses. Real ownership. And until we get there, and maybe in closing, I want to share something with you that you might want to build up as a theory. Every country needs to calculate the value of its wood, just trees, the value of its grass, the value of its water, the value of its air, the value of its human resource, the value of its minerals. You put all these figures together. Diamonds, platinum, gold, the reserves that are still underground. Plus the wood, plus the grass, plus the water, plus the fish. Plus, just give me a value of South Africa as a figure.
But I think that's quite dangerous.
I'm going somewhere.
Yeah.
Now when you have this figure of these things are worth so much, then you divide that figure with 52 million. Then you have a unit price of the value of every South African. In that case, therefore, we can extrapolate that into the value of Africa. And you'll be shocked to discover that when you calculate the value of Africa, your value as an African is higher than your value as a South African. Because Congo on its own will multiply your value 10 times more than what South Africa is offering you.
Yes.
So there is power in unity. This is where I'm talking.
Probably Burundi as well.
I wish we could actually walk up to Africa Union and give them a resignation form to step out of office. They don't know what they're doing. They have no clue of what they're doing. They've been selling information to the Chinese for the longest of time. Africa has become a dumping site of second-hand clothes. Who said we want second-hand clothes in Africa here?
And that second-hand clothing it's a huge market.
No, man, that's poverty, man. Why must we be working on other people's success?
But I was saying that it's dangerous to do that. It's a good thing, but it's dangerous. The leader of the opposition in Mali, Solma Sise, I met him. I flew with him from Bamako to Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou. And he said to me that exactly that when he was the Minister of Finance, he tried to put together the value of wool, because Mali is rich in wool, rich in water, rich in gold, and trying to put that value together. And that's when he started doing that, then they moved him out of government. And he started his own political party. Last year, he died.
And ask me why Dubai is succeeding. That's the model they used. Calculated their oil, divided the value of the country with the population that they have. So for you to be born in Dubai, you don't get a birth certificate. You get a shareholding license. You get a shareholding certificate to the resources that are in the ground. What stops Nigeria from doing the same? What stops South Africa
Leaders
from doing the same? So we have a crisis. According to the words of PLO Lumumba, we have a crisis of leadership. And a group of lions being led by a sheep, they will lose. And a group of sheep led by a lion, they will win.
Thank you very much. I think that's a powerful closing. Thank you very much for coming through. I appreciate it. And
I see my friend is here.
Pen the God. Pen the God. Come and greet us. Pen the God. Pen the God. Pen the God is in the house.
Yeah.
Pen the God is in the house. Thank you. Pen the God is in the house.
All of us. How are you,
No, I'm not sitting.
No, just say hello. Say hello.
How are you?
Say hello to the
Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming.
Throw him 2 questions. How does he become God? Ask him a question.
Panel, why do you call yourself God? Why do you call yourself God?
No, this guy is leaving. I think you have to walk him out.
No.
I'll walk him out.
No. Please continue. Work is mine.
Okay.
I'll call you.
This is why I stood outside.
We'll
Yes.
talk over the phone, yeah. Thank you very much for coming.
Maponga Che. Siyabonga baba.
Jam.
No, mina ngizange ngizokhuluma mina.
So,
You must edit this out. You must edit this out.